Problem.
All right, we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. How's it going, everybody? Happy New Year! Hope y'all are starting your New Year's resolutions off right. Hope y'all set some goals because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about some goal setting, and we have a guest joining us on the podcast. We have Mr. Dustin Jackson coming onto the podcast today. He knows a lot about goal setting, so I thought it was only right to bring him on and talk about how we can achieve those New Year's resolutions that y'all set out to achieve this year. I know last episode we talked a little bit about, setting New Year's resolutions, and today we're going to go into a little more detail on those setting goals because that's along the same line. So that's what we're going to get into today. So I guess I'll introduce Dustin for y'all, and then I'll let him add on to what he does. But Dustin is partially the reason that I got into doing the Ironman. He's Actually, I didn't know. I just met Dustin about 3 years ago when I got into doing the endurance training, and he's probably the main reason I completed the Ironman because I did a lot of my training with Dustin during that time. He actually did the same one I did the year before that. So we're kind of the same when it comes to like doing endurance events and stuff. But other than that, Dustin is a business owner. He owns 47 different businesses. Not really, but he does own a lot. He does a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'll let him talk a little bit more about those. But yeah, we found each other through sports, through fitness, and then since then we've kind of developed a friendship around working out, training together. A lot of times, if you ever see me on my story at 5 o'clock running in the midnight dark, I'm probably running with Dustin.
Yeah.
Or riding bikes.
In there.
So that's kind of he's kind of my training partner in a way. So if you would, Dustin, just tell him a little bit about kind of what you do. Before we get started.
Yeah. Thanks, Murphy. Thanks for the introduction, and happy to be on your podcast. I've watched you do a lot of them by yourself. I watched the guests that you've had on. You've done an amazing job, and always love following you and this journey. So honored to be asked to be a part of this. As far as myself goes, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've done a lot of training together. We've done a lot of running, biking, and some swimming together, and I think we've cried together at times, and it sure begged for mercy just yesterday. So it's been fun experience, man, and I know if there's anybody that I was gonna ask, that I would ask like to go do something hard with me, it'd be you, because we got about the same level of quit in us, and that's tough. So as far as business goes, it's not quite 47, so I'm thankful for that. I think we own 11, own and operate 11 companies, and when I say that, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that own a lot of businesses, LLCs, and they're not involved in day-to-day operations. And I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse, but I am involved in every company's day-to-day. So I'm not just an absentee owner. I'm very much in the mix. That's where I want to be. I like to solve the problems. I like working on things. I enjoy work. You probably could call me a workaholic, and that's okay. But it's that's what's fun for me. And so, we own an array of businesses from retail stores to some storage facilities, some detailing operations, some two distribution, countrywide distribution centers when we have manufacturing overseas, marketing company, a boat show of all things, magazine company, a software, a CRM software company. And also, it's a wide array. It's a lot to keep us busy and going. That's for sure.
So the reason I wanted Dustin to tell y'all what he did is because if anybody has an excuse for not having enough time to do something, it's Dustin. So I want to use him as an example of that. I don't care what you got on your plate or what you got on your schedule. You got time to, work on your goals, whether that's fitness related, career related, family related, whatever it is. You got time. You just have to make it a priority to do that, to fit it in your schedule. And Dustin's a perfect example of that. Because dude, if you ever try to meet with Dustin, the only time he's available is 5 a.m. to about 6:30 a.m. is the only time you're gonna get him.
Yep, that's right. And it's by design, and you mentioned that. So like my training and my working out is a very selfish thing that I do because that's what feeds me the most. And I don't think I could do all that I do, within the companies and at work, if I didn't have that piece in my life. And there's been times that it hit the back burner, but that's not something that I make time for. It's something that makes me time, and so I segment that off, and it's honestly the thing that probably keeps me going the most. So you're right. I do carry an extremely busy schedule, but my training schedule is crucial.
I like how you kind of reverse the roles there on that one. It
Yeah,
gives you time because that,
it
that
does.
is true. Like when I get up and go work out, it starts my day. Like a kick starts my day,
It
and
does.
I get so much more done. Like if I get up early and knock a workout out, like my day is so much more productive than sleeping in, because then I don't know, you get up late and then you don't want to do nothing. So it's working out early is definitely a good thing to get your day going.
It is. It's the snowball effect both ways, right? So if you get up early and you do something hard to start your day, the rest of your day it's easier. And it doesn't matter. It's like you lean into the physical aspect of the day. If you get up and run a long run and you go into work, you are energized to then make the phone calls, to check the emails, and if you're, in the physical aspect of it, work outside, whatever, you're geared up. And if you wake up late and you're running late and you're rushing, like, everything else seems to get procrastinated at that time. And so it snowballs both ways for me, for sure. And absolutely, I'm a morning workout, morning trainer. The evening trainers, when I'm doing 2-a-days, we'll do it, but it's usually 45 minutes to an hour, short and sweet, because I don't like to train in the evenings.
Yeah, it's so much harder to get me to work out in an afternoon. I don't know what it is, but
Man, it really is, to finish your day. And now I like to do a short walk. Chelsea and I usually do a walk in the evenings, and that's really cool to kind of wind down. But yeah, anything hardcore is gotta happen in the morning. And just like you, I like to do it before the sun rises. I like to be finishing as the sun's rising.
yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit about goal setting. So me and Dustin are very, I would say, goal oriented is, I guess, a good way to put it. We both function well off of having goals because it gives us something, to work towards. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So for you personally, why is setting a goal so important when it comes to not just your fitness, but also like, personal growth?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps me going in the right direction. Setting something out there gives me my reason why. And I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, you and I went for a long run. And when we communicated about it on New Year's Eve, I said, hey, let's do 15. We had a lap that we wanted to do, one lap, right? And it was 15-mile lap. And at about 12 and a half, I thought I was going to die. And I haven't run a long run in a few months. And so I've kind of gotten a bit out of shape in that aspect, those longer runs. Anyways, and had I not set the goal of 15, and this is kind of the super, finite level of it. Had I not set the goal of 15 miles, I wouldn't have finished 15. I would have stopped at 12. I would have turned short and went back to the truck. And so setting the goal helps me push when my brain tells me to stop. It helps me keep going when my brain tries to protect me. And that goes for business too. When we set goals in business, we set something pretty far out there that we know it's going to take change to make it happen. And we do that so we can develop all along the way. And then that gives us a thing to keep shooting at and keep shooting at. So that way we're always improving. We don't fall into that stagnant, no man's land.
Yeah, for me, it's like you said, it gives you something to work towards. Like with setting a goal, if you don't have a goal, it just feels like you're kind of training for nothing, and it's so hard to keep going day in and day out doing that. Like you can do it for a while, and I did it for a while.
Yeah.
Like when I got back home from college, I quit school, I quit cheering. I didn't, because like then cheering kept me busy. I didn't need like a goal. That was kind of like my goal at the time. But then when I got home, I started working out, and I got really serious into working out. And I guess at the time, kind of that was my goal. But then after a while, I didn't have nothing I was like specifically aiming towards. and I just got tired of it. Like it got kind of
Yeah.
old, and it was harder for me to keep doing it and stay in it. So that's when the kind of the whole triathlon thing come about,
Hmm.
and setting that goal of doing an Ironman, like that goal specifically, really made me understand like how important goals are because it's like you said, if I wouldn't have set that goal of doing an Ironman, I would have never done an
Right.
Ironman like ever. If I wouldn't have signed up, paid the money for it, like
Yeah.
no way I would have done it because I didn't even know what an Ironman was before, like a year before that.
It's so funny that we had the same story about Ironman, and we didn't really know each other. I didn't know you at all when I was training for my Ironman, but we had the same, mindset. I think that we got introduced to triathlon, kind of looked at it, and as soon as I started training for a triathlon, I like wanted to know what the biggest one there was. Like I want to know what the
Mhm.
hardest thing there is to do, and then so like you, I set my goal for Ironman, and you're absolutely right. When you put that kind of goal out there, you have no choice but to follow a training regimen because
Mhm.
it is a feat. I mean, it's a monster of a task, and you've got to break it down. But that keeps you going when you wake up because you're gonna wake up tired. You're gonna not feel like it at some point. You're not gonna feel like going those extra miles. But if you have that goal out there, that's gonna keep drawing you towards it. And you're right, we're very much the same. When we don't have one, we've been in this little, I don't want to call it a rut, but like this situation over the last few months where you didn't really have a true dedicated thing, and I didn't have mine, and we're just kind of floundering around a little bit. And I think we're starting to dial it in now for sure.
Yeah, when I have a, it's like you mentioned, you have a plan. Like you, when you set an Ironman, you have to follow a training regimen. And
Mhm.
when I do that, like when I call it a prep. When I'm in a prep, like I'm so disciplined. Like that's the most disciplined I ever am. And it's
Yeah.
like as soon as that goal is over and I don't have
Oh.
that plan to follow, it's like I start slacking.
Yeah.
I'll take a day off or two.
Yeah.
Which is good sometimes, but not on like days that I have planned to train. I'll be eating whatever I want to eat. But yeah, every time I have one of these big goals and I'm in the middle of like my training plan, like I'm the most dialed in. Like I'm getting up on time, getting to the gym or running or whatever I'm doing, and I'm knocking it out. And then like I don't even second guess. Like I don't even think, man, do I really want to run today? Like when I get up, it's I got 12 miles today. I'm going to get it. Like
Gotta run. Yeah,
yeah,
gotta
there's
go.
no
Gotta check
choice.
off the list.
When
Um,
you don't have that goal, you're like 12 miles. Do I really want to run 12 miles? Then you give yourself a little leeway there.
you do because you don't have a real reason, and
Yeah.
it's hard to do that. And so, when I think about goals, part of the reason why I like them is to be able to break them down into steps, into chunks. And I like to break things down into bite-sized chunks and do them like that. For me, I get a lot of like self gratification in that. Like, okay, I can check it off the check it off the list. So when I break down, an Ironman, for instance, like you have a whole string of trainings that you're going to do, and every day, every week, you're just chunking them down, and there's just so much win in that. Um, but it's also when I set goals, like I like to set goals so big that if you don't say like what, and when I tell it to you, it's not big enough,
Mhm.
and I think that's just who I am.
Yeah, I like to say if your goals don't scare you a little bit, then
Yeah,
they're not big enough.
that's
You need to
right.
shoot a little bit higher. But at the same time, they gotta be reasonable. Like they gotta be
Really.
actually achievable. It should scare you a little bit, but you should be able to do it like physically. Don't be like too delusional to where something like I'm gonna win $1 million today or something. Like it's not gonna happen.
It could be like the conversation I had with Chelsea when I thought you had said you was going to run 1,000,000 miles in January. And I was telling her, she's like, "That's impossible." I was like, "No," and I start to break it down. I'm like, "Wait a minute, no." He told me 1,000,000 steps. That's what he's doing. And so don't put 1,000,000 miles in January. That ain't gonna happen.
Speaking of that, I gotta get some steps in right after this.
How
So
many steps are you?
let's see how many I got
I
today.
saw you on the treadmill. Was you on the treadmill this morning? I saw you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got 21,000 right now.
Ooh, baby.
So I got
It's
about
okay.
another 12,000 I gotta get today.
Yeah, you getting there. My legs were sore from that run yesterday, so I did a little 2.5 mile walk this morning, just nice, easy, trying to stretch it out. And I'm sure we'll get into something tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. All right. So another question for your goals. Do you think most people fail because their goals are bad or because they don't have a system to complete that goal?
Oh, I think it's totally they don't have a system. I don't think a goal can be bad. I think that when you set a goal, it is your job to then break it down, right? And look at the time, and you need to be specific. So, like, a goal doesn't need to be I want to lose weight. right? That's not a very smart goal, and there's an acronym to SMART. Specific, measurable, obtainable, relatable, and timely. I think that's the um, the description of it. Anyways, so if you got to be specific about it, and if you're specific about it, then you can break that back down into chunks that you can then complete. But if you just say, "Hey, I just want to be in better shape," that's not gonna you'll quickly come off the line there, and you'll quickly say, well, I'm not gonna be in shape because you didn't define it well enough. So I guess that is twofold. A not so good goal would be very vague, would be very broad, and wouldn't be able to nail it down. But if you create a smart goal where it's specific, it's timely, it's measurable, and it's obtainable, then you can take that goal and you can start to work yourself backwards. Okay, this is when I'm going to do that. And this is where I am now. How do I get from A to Z? And that's how you achieve goals, because you don't just end up there. It's all those little steps all along the way. And that sounds so cliche, but it's the absolute way it happens. You don't just wake up and achieve your goals. You wake up and you do the work every single day that is required for you to achieve that goal.
Yeah, I like to take instead of making like a results based goal, I like to instead of it being results based, your goal should be action based.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you'll have a result goal, but like in order to achieve that result, you'll have to have a goal of like the action. So like you said, you're not gonna to lose 100 pounds. Your goal shouldn't be I want to lose 100 pounds. I mean, yeah, you can break that down and say I want to lose 10 pounds a month until I get 100 pounds. Yeah, that would be breaking down, but I would say take it even a step further and say, well, the action to lose 100 pounds is I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. Like that should be your goal. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. Not necessarily I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Or I'm going to cut this one bad food out of my diet, or whatever. Something
Yep.
action based that you can take to actually do. I think that'll help you achieve your goal when you're breaking that big goal down.
Yeah, and I think you need to establish a strong why. And because there's going to be a moment in time. If you don't, and I can't tell you how many times I've started 75 hard, right? For no reason outside. I'm just going to set a goal. I'm in between. I'm going to start 75 hard. But I didn't have a strong enough why to complete it. I just did this thing, and you get 20 days in, and I got a little sick, and I was like, I just don't feel like it. And I didn't have that why to hold on to. Now, if you set it, and if you have 10 of your buddies doing it, then you're wise. Well, because I'm not gonna let them beat me. That's not happening. So,
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
no, there's not. There's not. I mean, but a strong enough why that's going to pull you through those times where you don't feel like doing it. And I think that's important.
Yeah, the why is a big one because I think a lot of people don't have that strong enough why. And
Yeah.
a lot of times it gets to the point to where it's too far gone. Like that why is because doctor said if I don't lose weight, I'm gonna die. Like you don't want it to get to that point. Like you gotta figure out a why before you get to that point. But unfortunately, with the way the world works, is people don't really take it serious until it's too far, like too far gone, and then they're trying to scramble to get their health back in shape. Like you should take initiative, get your health in shape now. And then for most people, the easy answer is if you got kids, your kids should be your why. Like that's the easy answer for most people.
Yeah.
If you don't have kids, it's gonna be a little bit harder to find that why. But yeah, you got there's deep down in there, there's something that you really truly care about. You just got to figure out what that is, and that will be your reason why.
And I think that doing these things can inconvenience you. It breaks your schedule, it breaks your routine, and it's an inconvenience at time. And it is. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, there's been times where I didn't feel like I had time to do what I needed to do. And you do it anyway. But what happens is the first time you do something, when you're inconvenienced by it, but you go ahead and do it anyway, you have gained a new level of self-discipline, and it's like a launching pad for you. And the progress is built on self-discipline and making those hard decisions when you really don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, I always like to say you have to treat your workout or whatever you're doing, running, fitness, whatever. You have to treat it like any other event on your calendar. Like you got to put it on your calendar and schedule it. So that way, hopefully, it won't necessarily inconvenience you. I mean, yeah, you're having to wake up early, maybe that's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Or you're switching your schedule around or whatever. But find a way to fit it in your normal like schedule,
Yeah.
and put it on the calendar, just like you would a meeting at work. Put it on the calendar, and when that time comes, you go, like you do it then. Don't say, oh well, I'll do it later. No, do it right then when you have it scheduled, and that then you don't have an excuse.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable, and mine are on my calendar. Like my first work, my workouts, morning and evening, are on my calendar, just like everything else is. It's the first thing I see in the mornings, and it's a non-negotiable. And then I think about accountability, having friends. I mean, like that are doing other things like that will hold you accountable. When you know they're at the gym or they're meeting you somewhere and you really don't feel like it. I mean, just New Year's Eve, we stayed up till midnight and and you and I were set to run at 5:30. Like, that accountability piece keeps you moving.
Yeah, you gotta get you a workout buddy for sure.
That's right,
That's
for
it
sure.
makes it so much easier. Like,
It does.
especially doing some of the training that me and you do. I mean, going on a 15-mile run by yourself is absolutely brutal. Like, that's tough. Being
Man,
out there for that long.
it's a mental breakdown. It is, and it's nice on the long runs to have somebody there just to chat it up with a little bit. And it kind of it kind of takes your mind off of what you're doing. Because I can tell you, there's some of those times by yourself, it is brutal.
Yeah, the main thing I like though with having somebody like a workout buddy that you're going to do with is the accountability piece.
Yeah.
Like, it makes being accountable so much easier because like you'll let yourself down. Like,
Yeah.
you'll skip a workout by yourself, but
Yeah.
if you have it scheduled to go with somebody else, like, you're not going to let the other person down.
Correct.
Like, you're gonna show up. You're gonna do whatever you got to do. Like you said, you stayed up New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But we had already planned on running, so like you was gonna be there regardless, no matter how much
Ah.
you got, you were coming. So that's what I love about it, because like on Saturday, if I know I got a 15-mile run, I may say screw it, man. I'm gonna sleep in a little bit. We'll do it later. But
Yeah.
I know if we have it planned, like I'm getting up, I'm gonna be there 5:30 or whatever time it is we're doing it. Like, that's what I like about the having somebody to do it with, is the accountability piece. It just makes it easier.
That's right. Yeah, it does. It really does.
You don't want to let that other person down, so you'll make sacrifices to get it done.
Yeah, and you do, and then you make decisions leading up to that. If you know that you've told somebody you're going to do something, you make decisions that are better to serve that, right? So if I know that I'm going to run by myself, New Year's Eve, had I planned this run by myself, I might would have stayed up a little later. I might not have gotten in bed as soon as as quick as I did, because I probably wouldn't have went and done the run, or I would have done it later. But I told you I'd be there, so therefore it just forced me to make the right decisions earlier that night. And that goes for everything. The more you can have an accountability partner or group, or even if it's posting on social media, that is huge when it's when you're needing something and you don't have someone to do it with you. When you're needing that accountability, a social media post will keep you moving too.
So let's talk like long-term versus short-term goals. When you look at goals, like, how do you set them up? Do you set them up long-term and then break them down to short-term, or do you like to keep those separate? You like to have those short-term goals and then have those big picture goals too?
I like the long term goals. I mean, nothing over a year. I don't want to plan. I don't want anything over a year. A year is like my max, right? We'll have now. When I think business is a little different than personal or fitness. In business, we'll have 3 and 5 year plans, but we keep everything about a 12-month chunk. In fitness, absolutely. I try to I try to plan a couple big things in a year's time to do, and then I just back down. And my daily and my weekly trainings are all based on that event or that thing that I'm going to do, which creates little micro goals, weekly goals or monthly goals, because you're getting to certain points so that you can do that thing when it's time to come. So for me, it's definitely the bigger goals. So I'm not going to think of that very often, because it's hard. It's hard once you've done a couple big things. What are we going to do? Just go run a 5K? Like, that's not a big enough goal. Like, so you got to come up with something. And you and I think we both struggled with that after Ironman, and then you ran your 100-mile race. It's like, okay, what's another big one you put on deck? I mean, it's not easy finding something that's comparable to those things.
Yeah, I like long-term goals too, but they're sometimes they can get kind of difficult because they're so far away. Like they
Yeah,
don't feel within reach. And
yeah.
every prep I've done, there's always been a time during like right around the middle, like when it really gets tough, when you've been doing it for a few months and it gets hard, your training's hard. There's always that time that like you're not motivated. Your motivation goes out the window, and you're just beat down. Like you've been doing it for months, over and over,
Yeah,
waking up over and over and over again, and you
yeah,
kind of just want to quit. But you know
yep.
you're so close, like you're halfway in, or probably a little bit further, probably like 3/4 of the way in.
Oh, man.
You're like, man, I'm
That's the
so
tough
close.
time.
I feel like
Yeah,
crap, and I don't want to do it, but I'm too close to quit now. So like
yeah.
that weird, you always have that weird like little window there where it's like I'm kind of far away, like I could quit if I really wanted to, but I'm so close, so I just have to keep going, and I can do it.
Yeah,
So I've experienced that in all my challenges where it's like it's not really burnout, but you get kind of exhausted.
you get bored.
Yeah.
You get bored with it, but, like, you start out, you're so motivated. You've made this announcement, you're doing this thing,
Hmm.
you're so motivated to get up and do it. It's like the new job that you're gonna show up for. You're gonna wear the best clothes, you're gonna have lunch prepared, you're gonna you do this thing, and then you get a month in or 3 months in, and you're like, training's the same way. Like, it loses its edginess, and, I think for me, always announcing that like, using social media as an announcement, and so, like, to have and we have the the group ready set goal, and it was my accountability piece, because I did a lot of my training by myself for Ironman, and so for me to make that announcement kind of gives you some reason to keep doing it, you know
Hmm.
even when that goal's 6 or 7 months away, because that's some dude, I know exactly what you're trying. That's rough when you're in the middle and you're everything hurts and everything's tired and you've got a million reasons why you don't want to do it and you shouldn't be doing it. And the thing is far enough away where you're like, oh man, I could just take the day off. Like, you better have some reason why.
Hmm. Yeah, it's tough. I was trying to think of like some strategies that I use that kind of helped me get through it, to help me
Yeah,
keep going. I can't really think of nothing off the top of my head. I set that goal, and I just wanted to stay true to myself, and I knew I had it. Like if I wanted to achieve this goal, I had to get up and train today. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like it had to be done. So I guess I just kind of toughed it out. I mean, when you get in the kind of, I guess you call it in the trenches is what people would say. You
yeah.
just got to tough it out. There's really not much. There's no magic pill that you can take when you're down in the trenches to help get yourself out. But you will climb up on the other side. I promise. If you keep going, it'll be worth it. It's hard.
It's hard.
With that being said, like when you set
Yeah,
these big grand goals for yourself, just know that it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. Like it's going to be hard. You're
yeah,
definitely going to go through hard times. You're going to be in the trenches sometimes. You may be on top of the mountain at some point, but
yeah.
just know that going into it. Like know that it's going to get tough. You're going to get tired. You're going to want to quit. But if you can just kind of push through those days, it will be worth it in the end. It's definitely worth it, but it's going to be hard.
No, you said a mouthful right there, and absolutely, I don't. I think a lot of people watch us and they think it just comes easy,
Mm-mm,
right? They
absolutely
see
not.
they
No.
see me jump on a live right after 15 miles, and that's why I try to be
Hmm.
very transparent. Like, that one was awful,
Hmm.
because like, just don't think that it comes easy. It may look easy on a single post, but I can tell you there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into that, and it's like, and a lot of the will to quit. We have that, like, that desire to quit whatever you're doing. When you're hurting and you don't feel like you can go any further, that will to quit. I mean, it gets right here, and it's like, it'd be so easy to just stop. And it just, you have to go past that point. And I think that you and I both have a very strong will against quit. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, like, I think I'm going to do it or I'm going to die trying, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why I like to kind of hold me accountable. I will like you said, post things on social media
Oh yeah.
so that I put
Yeah.
my goals out there. So that way I don't want to look stupid online.
Right.
I got to come through on the goal. So
Yeah.
that's why I'll actually use that as kind of like a accountability piece to
Hmm.
myself because I put it out there and I don't want to like look like a failure. Which
Yeah.
I mean, we all fail at some point. It's okay, but um, I kind of use that as like my self motivation, my own accountability.
Yeah. Same here.
So as soon as someone decides they want to, achieve a big goal, like once they set a goal, we'll just say a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
What's the next step they should do? Like, what's the very next thing?
Make a plan. Like, make a plan. Like, sit down and draw well, write it down. There's so much power in writing something down, or typing it out, make the social media post, but then start to make the plan, because there's going to be a time where it's going to be an inconvenience. And if you don't have it planned out, it's not going to happen. And so, like, if you have this goal of losing 100 pounds and you have no plan to get there, the moment, and you just say, well, I'm just going to eat better and I'm going to, be a better person, right? Well, the moment that something shows up in a weak moment, then you're going to break. But if it's, I'm going to lose 100 pounds because I'm going to do this every single day, and I'll write this down, and now I've made a plan. This is exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it regardless of the results, right? You keep doing that over and over and over again, and you'll get to the end. You'll get to it. And here's the best part about it. Maybe say you don't hit your goal. Say you don't get all the way there. Say if you didn't complete Ironman, but you swam the 2 miles, you biked the 112 miles or whatever, and you ran 24 miles, you still did more than 99% of the people were going to do that day. So it's still a big achievement. Now, I can't imagine you getting 2 miles to the finish line if you still had legs, not crossing it. But the reality is even if you don't hit your goal, if you set something out there and you start working towards it, you're going to be better off than you were if you didn't.
Yeah, it's like the saying when they say, like, shoot for the stars and you hit the moon or something like that. I don't know how it goes.
Shoot for the moon, and
Shoot for the moon.
you may hit the star. Like, if you miss,
whatever that saying is, you're still way up there. Like, you still did good. Like, even if you failed, like, you still put in the time, the work, and the effort to get better, to improve in some area. So just because you didn't necessarily get the goal that you expected, you still kind of won in a way. Like, you still worked on yourself, improved.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you were training for. It may not be, a fitness goal. It could have been any kind of other goal.
Nothing stops you from doing it again. Like, nothing stops you from continuing on that path, or for resetting the goal, or reframing it. Like, I've had to do that. I've had to do that in business a lot. You set a goal and something just doesn't work out. Like, matter of fact, that happens probably more times than it does in business. You probably don't achieve your goals more than you achieve them, right? But what happens is who you change along the way becomes more important than the goal itself. And so, we're constantly chasing things. And you got to think that goals are usually like a moving target. So, like, once you get there, then it's the next, and then it's next, and then it's the next. So it's like, do you ever really get there? But I just think that it's important to absolutely start a plan immediately after you decide you're going to do something.
Yeah, and if you never give up, if you never quit, then technically you can never fail.
You can't. That's right. That's the only way to fail is to quit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because normally a failure is just a learning lesson. It's just a little bump in the road, and then you keep going.
Yeah, and I think that, like, people need to hear that. I mean, just recently I started 75 Hard. I've probably done it 8 times total in its entirety my whole life. I probably started at 20. And so, like, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. I got sick. I didn't feel like, I just didn't feel like doing it. I was not feeling great. Okay. And it wasn't, my why wasn't strong enough, but what it did was it jump started me into, okay, I've got to get serious about getting my training regiment together for the canoe race I got coming up. And then in the process, I'm thinking about doing a little 100-miler, not a recorded race, but one on my own. And just because I'm weird like that. And so that's what kicked that off. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't always have to be that goal specific, but who you become in the process.
So when you look at, like, fitness goals versus business goals, do you kind of see those the same? Do you treat them the same? Do you approach them kind of the same? Do you approach them differently? How does that work for you?
That's a great question. I think I treat them mostly the same. So business can be broader, and it relies on more people. So when I think of a goal, like, we have goals for 2026 for every company, and I developed from those goals an operating plan, a 12-month operating plan for every single company. Like, we've been working on this for 5 weeks. It relies on everyone else, so you've got to really break it down even further, and then distribute out. But I guess in the essence, it's set something. It's figure out what it's going to take to get there. It's break it down into bite-sized chunks, and then it's complete those tasks. So yeah, after saying that out loud, I think it's treated the exact same. It's just more people are involved. But and then goal setting is it's important there because if it's something that someone else tells you to do, it's really hard to get behind. It's really got to come from within. And when you're setting your goals, like you really need to make sure it's something that's feeding your life and feeding who you are and what you want to be, and not something that you heard on this podcast or that you saw on TV and like I want to look like him and or her, and like that's not who you are or who you will ever be. Then you're kind of chasing this unachievable task, right? This unachievable goal. But if you feel it and you really gotta, that's what I mean by having a strong why. Like it's got to be you. It's got to be organic and natural, and something that feeds you. Because if you don't have that strong why, I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, you gotta have something to push you through when the times get tough. And if you don't have that why, it's you're probably gonna end up giving up or quitting. So,
Oh, that's a fact.
I just had a question. Oh, how do you prevent one bad week or one bad day from turning into like an entire like you and quitting altogether? Just turning into like a trickle effect. Do you have any like strategies or tricks that you use?
Great question. And this is probably one of the hardest things because usually what happens is somebody will miss a workout or eat something bad or do the thing, and let that completely erase what they've done. Like even when I think about like addiction or something like that, and someone comes back to something, say you're trying to quit cigarettes, right? And you make it 3 months and you have one. All those 3 months aren't lost. You know, so to get back on and keep going, it's much easier and better than to just fall off the mountain right there. So when it happens, because it's going to happen, I don't think either one of us have been 100% of every single workout that we had on. There was something along the way that we just didn't do, or maybe we didn't do it our best, right? But we didn't quit. You got to keep going and don't let one bad day, one bad week kick you off entirely because you didn't lose all that progress. You and I were talking about that long run yesterday in the middle of it, and we were talking about like, how it comes right back. I had a leg injury and it kept me from running for a few months. I really took the time to let it heal. And this goes against everything that in me because like if my leg's not falling off, I don't really care. And so I didn't run for like 2 or 3 months. And so we had just started to run and we were talking about it. I was like, it's been a while since I've ran a long run like this. And you're like, it's amazing how quick it comes back. And that's the case. So when you're in the middle of this goal and you miss a workout or you miss a few days, don't let that completely derail you. Stay close to it and then just get right back on. Don't wait till Monday. The worst thing we can do is wait till Monday. Everybody's guilty of it. Just look at New Year's Eve, New Year's. I made a live this morning, and I said I know for a fact that everybody's waiting until this Monday to start their New Year's resolution because who wants to start it on a Friday? Well, that's the wrong mindset. That's already a losing mindset. Start today, even if it's midday. Well, I already had a cheeseburger for lunch, so you know what? I'll probably have an ice cream and a 12-pack tonight. No. If you had a cheeseburger for lunch and you decide to eat baked chicken tonight, that's great. You're started then. Then the next decision will be better, and the next decision will be better. Don't let those bad decisions snowball into a season that you can't escape easily. And again, that snowball is hard to stop, but once you stop it, it's easy to come back. It's easy to once you get in that rhythm. I mean, everybody talks about it, right? It's like, man, I stopped going to the gym. I just can't get back in there. The first day you decide to get back in there, boom, it's on. And that's all it takes.
Yeah, this one's such a big thing for me because I feel like it's the number one thing that kind of makes people quit. Like it stops people and they let one bad day lead to them just quitting altogether. Like if they just realize how much that one bad day actually affected them, how little it affected
How
them.
little? Yeah.
Yeah, it don't make a difference. Like just use calories for food, for example. Like say you've been working out, you've lost 20 pounds. And then one weekend you decided, you had a 12-pack of beer and you drank,
Yeah.
and you ate not a peanut. I was gonna say a peanut butter and jelly. You ate a hamburger. You ate a
Yeah.
hamburger, greasy hamburger. You
Yeah.
enjoyed
Oh, yeah.
yourself. Say it was New Year's, you had a good time. Well, guess what? Like that 12-pack of beer and that hamburger, at max, you may gain a pound. Like that's it.
Right.
Like
Right.
you're probably not even gonna gain a pound. If you think about it, there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. That beer is what 1,200 calories, and that burger is probably gonna be 1,200 calories, maybe 1,500 calories. So right there, you have like 3,000 calories max. You're not even gonna gain a pound off of that, off of one bad meal.
Right.
And people will let that set them way back. Like that meal didn't affect you really at all. I mean, yeah, you may feel like crap the next day, and you may hold on to a little more water weight. It may change the scale. I mean, that number on the scale a little bit, but that's just it's just your body weight fluctuating. And people will let that derail them, and they'll just quit. But like,
They do.
don't let. It's like you said, you can't let the one bad day, even a bad week, like one bad week is really not gonna derail your progress that much. Like you're still gonna be good. So it's just you can't let that one thing affect you. You have to realize it, like understand. Hey, yeah, I shouldn't have ate that. I get that, but tomorrow I'm gonna go to the gym. Tomorrow I'm gonna be right back in the gym.
And there's so much power in starting. Like just start. Like so I mean, and I always tell people this, like if you want to start something, like start walking, right? We all walk. Everybody can walk, and most people. I mean, like if you're starting a fitness journey, don't start out by saying I'm going to run 10 miles today. Start with something that you can do. Here's the thing, and if you've fallen off and you want to come back, start with something easy, but just start. Because as soon as you start, as soon as you make that decision and you put those clothes on and those running shoes on and you step out there and you start to walk, you're like, man, I could probably just jog a little bit. It's I'll compare it to this. I was reading a book, and I think it was 7 Habits that said it in there, and it was like if you want to start to floss your teeth every day, you don't start by saying I'm going to floss my teeth every single day. You start by saying today I'm going to floss one tooth. Say that's all I'm going to commit to is flossing one tooth. And when you get in the bathroom and you go to floss one tooth, well, then you're going to floss the rest of the teeth because you're already there. And tomorrow, all I'm going to do is floss one tooth. And the next thing you know, you've created this habit. So I think that once you stop and you kind of get derailed or fall into that rut, the power of just starting back, the power of just saying, today's my day, and don't wait till Monday. Do it then. Do it then.
Yeah, I like the flossing your tooth example. I've heard another a fitness example is just like that. Is if you can't make yourself go to the gym, like if you're having trouble getting there, tell yourself all you have to do is go to the gym for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you go to the gym, do something for 5 minutes, and you want to leave, then you can leave. Just leave. And then that was a win for the day. You won.
That's a good one.
But what you'll find is if you go to the gym for 5 minutes, you're gonna be in there for a lot longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The problem with the gym is getting there. It's hard for somebody to get there. But once you get there, it's easy. Like once you're there, you're probably gonna work out. But just tell yourself, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 minutes. If I get done with 5 minutes and I want to leave, then I can leave, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what you'll find is you'll end up doing a lot more than 5 minutes. You'll end up, doing an extra set, over here. You'll do another workout here, or you'll walk on the treadmill for 20, 30 minutes. Like you'll end up finding once you get there, it's a lot easier to work out. You just got to get yourself there. That's the problem.
Yeah. And getting out of bed, it's the same way. Like getting out of bed when you're tired, when you are really tired, like in the middle of a long training session, 8 or 9 months, and you're at month 5, and and it is so hard to put that foot down just to get out. Like just roll the leg out and let the other leg follow, and don't look up, don't check up, because once you get there, once you've done that, you're gonna do whatever it is. It's that initial movement, man, and like the friction. Try to remove the friction between you and whatever you're doing too. Like if joining a gym that's inconveniently 45 minutes from your house, man, it's gonna be the first thing you stop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I, like when we think about like runs, like I was talking about going somewhere different for that run, and the more I thought, I'm like, man, we're gonna have a million excuses why we're not gonna do that. Like, let's just do something. I think you suggest like let's just go to Creola and do it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, fair enough. Remove the friction. Remove the reason why you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. The friction is easy. Like I talk about this a lot too. Like set your clothes out the night before.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
a
have
big one.
have your meals already prepped, or have your like when we go on a run. I have my running belt already laid out. I got the goos ready. Got
Same.
my little bottles filled up. So that way in the morning I don't have to do it. I just grab it and I go out the door. And it makes it so much easier. I
Man,
love doing little things like that to
that's a
prepare.
great point. That is a great point. That pre-work, like that nightly routine where you're getting things prepared for the next day is massive that next morning.
Yeah, and that comes into play not just for fitness stuff, like at work. Like if you know you got a lot of things to do in the morning, like go ahead and get those things prepared, before you leave that afternoon before. Like if you
Yeah.
got, I don't know, say you got an email you got to send out, like go ahead and write it the day before and set
Yeah.
it up to be, something. That's just an example. It could be
No,
anything,
that's
but
no, that's
set
exactly right.
yourself up.
Yeah, you do. I mean, and also like in that instance, I think cleaning my desk is really important. Like, so that way I
Hmm.
don't show up to the disarray. Right.
Hmm.
My desk every single day I clear off. So when I'm done, I'm done. And what's really like gratifying for me is to clear the windows on my computer, shut it down, clear my desk. Like that's like a shutdown, you know. And then when you come on, you're coming up to a clean start. I'm very much a like fresh start kind of person. I love a fresh start. There's something clean about that.
Yeah, I mean, just reducing clutter in general
Yeah.
is for me, it's the thing I enjoy. Like I'm kind of OCD, so I don't like clutter. So if I can come into a clean, work environment, workspace, or have it all set up like I like it, then it makes it easier, to get right in and get going. You're
Yeah.
not trying to replace things and clean up stuff. So that's a good point too.
Yeah.
So do you see like goal setting as something that helps, build confidence?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I don't think I would have done half of what I've done in business if it weren't for my fitness goals. When you start to win, when you start to, you know, um, exercise self discipline and you start to check those boxes, dude, it empowers you. It empowers you more than you'll know. Like one thing I always talked about people about 75 hard is it is not about the fitness aspect of it at all. It's
Mm-mm.
two 45-minute workouts, but those can be, I mean, the workouts can be walks. Like they don't have to, there's not this huge workout. But the act of checking things off, the act of completion, the act of doing things when you didn't feel like doing it, that is so rewarding, and that builds your confidence through the roof. And there's nothing else that can stop it. Let me give you a perfect example. We run yesterday. We checked the 15 miles off, like, and when I tell you, I think everybody needs to understand how hard those last two were. It was all I had, and I'm feeling it today. But we get home, and the kitchen sink had stopped up. And so I'm like, pour Drano down, it won't go down. Call a plumber. He brings the little snake thing in. He tries it for like an hour, and this is on New Year's Day, so he's got this family and he's got to go. And I say, well, do you leave that thing here? I want to see if I can get it, because he was just kind of, he was being helpful, but he really wasn't as committed. And so I sat there, and I never even ran one of these things, but I just did it, and I fixed the drain. That will to keep going came from that run. Like you don't know it in that moment, but I can tell you right now that sense of I will keep doing this until it's done came from that. And that's how my whole life is. So that's why, fitness parallels with my businesses, because that feeds them. If I'm checking the boxes on fitness, I'm double checking the boxes at work, because I can tell you it doesn't matter how many emails I have to write, or how many processes I have to look over, or how many people I have to, meet with. Nothing's harder than that 15-mile run. If you can do that, you can do any of those meetings.
Yeah, it's so hard to like explain that feeling that you're talking about. Not necessarily a feeling, but like it just kind of comes back to a thing I like to say is momentum. Like I feed off of momentum, and that fitness kind of creates that momentum for your day. And once you're in momentum, it's all physics. Like once you're in momentum, it's a lot easier to stay in momentum.
Yeah.
You know, it's harder to create momentum than it is to, continue it, like to keep it going.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
think of pushing a car that's at a stop. Like if you just try to push a car that's going 0 miles per hour, it's stopped. It's gonna be a lot harder for you to push that car than it would be to push that car if the car is going 10 miles per hour. You can keep it; it'd be a lot easier to push then. So
Yeah.
that's like momentum's huge for me. I function off of momentum. Like if I can get something created, like get me going, and that's fitness. That's my workout in the morning. It gets me going for the rest of the day, and then I'm so much more productive throughout the rest of the day. You talked about checking the boxes. So the thing that I use as like my first check in the box in the morning is I make my bed. And
Oh, yeah.
I hate making my bed. I hate it. I absolutely despise it. And my wife buys 27 pillows to put on the bed, and I got to put all of them on the bed, and I hate it. Like I tell her, I'm like, hey, you got to get rid of these stupid things. Like I don't
Yeah.
want these pillows on here, but I make the bed up every day, and I don't do it because I enjoy it or I like it or because I care what the bed looks like. I could care less what the bed looks like.
Yeah.
I simply do it for that reason, to check the box, to create that momentum. It gets me going. So like I can go ahead and check one, and it's so much easier to keep checking them as the day goes on rather than, putting off, no, I don't need to make the bed today. And then I may slack on my workout. Oh, I don't need to work out today. And then, I don't need to do this meeting today. It has a trickle effect. So I feed off momentum, and that's what helps me a lot when it comes to, just daily tasks, just getting things done around the house, at work, or wherever.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and just like stopping something, how hard it is to get started back, it's hard to stop something once it's started. Once you got some momentum going, it's really hard to get off that train. And so that's why, and when you do, it's hard to get back on. So it's like that's why we value that so much. Like when you're going that direction, it's like man, and I'll tell you, like when you're approaching the goal. And when you're approaching completion to the goal, there's no other almost depressing time than when you're right at finishing the goal or right after finishing the goal,
Absolutely.
because it's like, man, what now? You know, and so that's a scary place to be. I know some of my biggest ruts or my hardest times going off schedule, off routine, have come after completion of something big.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially with these big like endurance events I've done, I feel the same. As soon as it's over, you're like, crap, what do I do now?
What now?
And it's good to rest. Like you can't just go from one big event to the other. Like you gotta let your body rest.
Yeah.
Not only physically, but mentally,
Mentally.
spiritually. Like
Yeah.
you need a good break, and those are good. But after I've had a break, like that's it. I gotta do something else. Like I need to do the next
Yeah.
thing. That's why I'm doing this little step challenge in January, because I haven't done a race since what was that, October, when we did that triathlon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been hard just to get up and, train every day like I have been without having, that goal, that thing on the calendar, that date on
Man,
the calendar.
it is. It is the quality. You like the quality of the workout or the quality of the training schedule, because you just don't have to. You don't have to push it.
Yeah. So if somebody set a goal like in the past and they failed at it, but they still have that same goal, what would you say to that person? Like what can they do, to kind of kickstart that fire under them to get, back into momentum to finish that goal?
I think create a quick win, because it's hard to chase something that you've lost. Like it's hard to go back after that same thing. And if there's a quick win that you can create from it, if you can cut it in half and get something that you'll get a little bit, you don't. I mean, it's got to be. It can't be like check the mail, right? Like, well, we're gonna check the mail or take the trash, but like, something out there, like if your goal is a marathon and you fell apart and didn't complete it, the next one, set the half and then go do a half, because when you finish that half and you realize you could have ran 8 more, or 10 more or whatever, you're like, oh man, or you felt like you could have. The next thing you're gonna do is gonna put a marathon back on deck and you're gonna go do it. So I think that if you fail a goal, I think the number one thing you should do is start back, but I think you should find something that's a little bit that, and I don't, I think you should go back after that main goal again, but I think you should set something a little bit lower that you can get a win under your belt to get
Mm-hmm.
some momentum behind you to keep pushing.
Absolutely. Do you ever experience kind of like burnout? Do you ever do you get burnout, and what do you do if you do experience that?
I hate the term. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think most people, I think 99 people, 99% of the people that use the term burnout aren't burnout. I think they just get tired. They just get lazy. They just want to, stop. And if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I'd tell you burnout's not real. So for 41 years, I was like, nobody's burnt. However, I have in the last 6 months felt that true burnout feeling, where you're mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually exhausted. And so I think you have to be strategic about this. And I think you do have to take a step back, right, and find you some time. But I think it needs to be definitive of the time and what you're going to do with that time. I think if you say, well, I'm just going to take it easy, man, I think it's toxic. I think you just fall back off the wagon. And I think that's where the rut, and the next thing is 2 years before you start back, right? I think you have to say, I'm going to specifically take these next 2 days and do X, Y, Z with them to recover. So if it's an injury, and burnout, injury, whatever, like it's got to be definitive. And I think that you take that time to recharge, but know that when you start back, like have a time that you're going to start back, and figure out what causes the burnout. So some of mine has like physically burnout's not like I just like I feel like I'm built to work. Like like there's not enough work you could put in front of me that's gonna like burn me out. The mental side of it, like the like where you just keep going, but there is no win. Imagine running a race with no finish line, and you just keep going, and you're like, at some point I gotta stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like, and we had solved we were trying to solve some really big problems, and it felt like the harder I tried, the deeper the problems got. And so I had to kind of definitively say, okay, enough's enough. I've got to stop and take a look at it. So to answer your question, I think that burnout is real. I think that you should not look at it I think that most of the times you feel burnout, you're probably not actually burnout. Like, right? I think that you're going to have to work through some time where you're tired. I think you're going to have to work through some time where you just don't feel like it. That's not burnout. Burnout is when you absolutely can't keep going. Like, and you can listen to your body and it'll tell you the difference most of the time. But when it is, you define your time. You define that break that you need, so then you can go back and serve or chase your goal or whatever it is that you were doing in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with you. People like to use that term burnout too loosely.
They
Like
do.
people, as soon as it gets hard, like, oh, I'm burnout.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's not the case. Like I said, I do think burnout is real, but it's very, very hard for you to get to that point. Like you gotta really be pushing to get to that point. Most people will quit before they even get there.
Correct. Correct.
People like to use it, and then they just use that as their opt out. They're like, oh, I'm burnt out. I gotta quit.
Yeah.
But like you say, if you are to that level, be strategic about your off time, your recovery. Don't just like you said, don't take off. Don't just quit, because then you're gonna not do anything eventually. But I think of it as like active recovery. Kind of like how if you're training, you have active days and then you have
Yeah.
recovery days. And that recovery day is not just mean, oh, I'm not gonna do nothing today. You're probably doing something actively on that day to recover. You're stretching, ice bath, foam rolling,
Yeah.
walking. Like you're doing something to recover. You're not just taking the day off. So I think that's like a good thing you could do when you're experiencing burnout. And most burnout is going to be mental. So like, it may be going for a little retreat, take a little vacation, like by yourself, go walk in the woods with nature, or
Yeah.
do some meditating, I don't know, pray, whatever it is that, can get you back on track, get you, get your feet back on the ground up under you,
Yeah.
and get you back stable.
Yeah, prayer's been a big one for me. And I know that may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I can tell you for me, my faith and by leaning heavier into that is really what brought me back out of that. And it's given me confidence to keep moving forward. So for me, that's where I leaned heavy into, and it's working. It's feeding me.
Absolutely. So if you had one, I want to get on the canoe race. I want to ask you about that. But
All
before
right.
that, is there one piece of advice you have for anybody out there for any kind of goal setting, any goal setting advice that somebody's listening, like they want to achieve their New Year's resolution they got coming up? What would that one piece of advice be for them?
Just start. Just start. It's not going to be pretty. You don't do this. Don't say, "Well, I got to go get new shoes and I got to get some gym clothes and I need to get this new water bottle because this one's not cute and I got to go find a track to go and then I got to get like don't do it. No. Just start. Just start with what you have. Start right now. Start right now. Don't wait. The biggest word of advice I'll give you is don't wait till Monday. And even if it's Monday. Because everybody says that.
And it really applies this time around because New Year's was a Thursday, which is
Yeah.
weird. A lot of people are probably waiting until Monday to get
I can tell
started.
you they are. And
But
yeah, don't wait. Don't wait.
it
Just
felt
start.
weird for me too on being on a Thursday. I was like,
Dude,
man, I
today
really,
felt like a Monday all day.
yeah, it's
You
kind of
know?
weird. But hey, I started my step goal yesterday. If you hadn't listened to my last podcast, I told everybody my goal for January is I'm going to walk 1 million, or not walk, I'm going to take 1 million steps in the month of January. So it's like 33,333 steps a day. So I'm doing that. Today's day 2. I got way ahead yesterday. We did a 15-mile run.
Yeah.
So I got like 45,000 steps in yesterday.
Dang.
Way over. Yeah. So I'm a little ahead, but I'm not going to use that yet. I'm going to keep that in the
No.
bank.
Yeah, keep those
Yeah.
banked.
I'm gonna keep those banked up because I know there's gonna be days where I can't do that many steps in a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like my New Year's resolution, my goal that I'm working towards. That, like I said, it kind of scares me. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure out a way.
Love it. I love it.
So speaking of big goals, New Year's resolutions, you have a big one yourself. You have a canoe. Was Alabama 650? It's a canoe race. That's literally 650 miles. I know that sounds ridiculous because it is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
But so for anybody that don't know, just kind of give them a synopsis of what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 650-mile from the top of Alabama to the bottom of Alabama canoe race. Straight down Alabama, straight down the state. And like I think it needs to be said is like I'm not an avid canoer. Okay, the 2 years ago, a very good friend of mine, John D, invited me to go do the Pascagoula run, which was a 12-mile canoe race, 12 miles, right? And we got out there. I sat in the canoe one time before that. We go out there and we paddle our hearts out and win. Okay, and then and after that, it was just like my first triathlon. I was hooked. I want to be in it more. And I was like, well, what's the biggest one we can do? And the Great Alabama 650 is it. And so we had set up to do it last year. And my partner at the time that was going to do it with me, which is actually a business partner of mine, he's got a torn rotator cuff, needs shoulder surgery, couldn't do it. So John D knew that he was having a baby, and they did. And so now his baby will be old enough for him to leave and go participate in this thing. So this year, I think it's in October, I believe, or maybe it's the first part of November. Let's see. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It's October, I believe. Anyways, so getting a canoe, 2-person canoe, and you canoe for 6 to 7 days straight. I mean, you got 10 days to do it. We're no way we're taking 10 days. We're going to start on Saturday, and I think our goal is 6 days. And so you got a series of required 45-minute ranging stops. I think there's 7 or 8 of those that you have to stop the boat and get out. And that requires you to stop and check in. Now, we'll probably use that time to sleep for 3 or 4 hours, but it is pretty much a 20-hour a day. And then when you get towards the end, it's probably more than that, paddling straight through the night, dark, through the day, through the night, through the rain, through the sun, whatever, canoe race. It's big. It's a big goal.
And it scares you.
Yeah, it's a big, scary goal.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I'm really interested to see how y'all do for that. So, like, speaking of that goal, have you like broken it down yet? Have you really like looked into the details of how y'all gonna achieve it?
Great question. So him and I are in the process of doing that. We've all kind of, well, me and him have discussed our training regiments. You know, we're gonna get a
Mhm.
once a weeker in for sure, very quick, and then do some. So I'm gonna be doing some running. I'm gonna chase down my a running goal too to help lose some weight, just get into better shape. But yeah, so him and I are still discussing what the actual plan will be, and we'll have that nailed down by the end of the month. We're gonna have our strict regimen as to what we're gonna do, and then you have the logistics of doing the race. So, you know, it's one thing to be physically fit and to go do the race, but there's a lot of logistics there because you have to have a team captain, you have to have truck and trailer, you got to have you know, backup boat, backup paddles, all of the nutrition, you know, all the supplies, all has to be planned out. And so to me, that's the fun stuff. Like I
Mhm.
love that side of it. And in Chelsea, my fiance, she is a pro at that kind of stuff, man. She's the reason that I'm able to do this anyway. I wouldn't even think about doing stuff like this if it wasn't for her, because she keeps the wheels on, you know what I mean? And she plans it to a T on that side of things, and she's excellent at it. So yeah, that's the 650.
Yeah, I like how it's really not a like just a you race. It's a team race. Like it takes everything.
It's a
That's
team race.
that's what I liked about the ultra. Like, yeah, in the ultra, I was the only one running, but it
Mhm.
took my whole team for me to complete it. Like, I let my family came up and they crewed me. They're my pit crew basically. That's
Yeah.
how it works. But they're making sure you got all the food you need, making sure you got dry clothes, dry socks, making sure your nutrition's up to speed. Like they're making when you're running, if you've never done it before, when you're running 100 miles, you get really bad brain fog. Like you don't really know what's going on when you're just running. You just know you got to keep running. So like
Yeah.
trying to do math in your head and think about what you've eaten, what you've drank, like it's hard to keep up with that. So like having a pit crew there is critical because they know exactly how much you need to drink each aid station, exactly how much you need to eat. Because like when you do ultra, you'll know this, but like you'll track out your calories, your electrolytes, your fluids, your liquids, like how much you're intaking, because you have to, or you won't finish. Like your body won't be able to finish. So it's very critical. So having a crew there to help you, like a team, it makes it more of like a team race, a team environment, and you need them. You got to lean on them to do it. So that's why I like the kind of camaraderie, like the group aspect of doing them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that this will, I mean, doing this with them will be a lot of fun. And you're not facing that challenge by yourself. Doing Ironman is lonely.
Mhm.
You did yours by yourself solely. I did mine by myself. People don't understand that 14 hours, 15 hours by yourself is hard, and they purposely, I know they do this, they say it's safety, it's not safety. I think they do it because it makes it a mental challenge, but there's no headphones, no music, no podcast, no anything like that. And it's a very isolating, lonely feeling. So doing the race with John D and Chelsea or whoever's going to captain us and all that stuff, it'll be more that team environment, and you're less likely to let your team down than you are even yourself. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, and just every time you come into like I call it a pit station or whatever you want to call it, a
Yeah,
cruising station, dude, that's like the highlight of your day, or the highlight of your hour or whatever it is. Like
it
you
is.
look forward to that. Like you're like, crap, for you, I've been paddling for 20 hours. I can't wait to see somebody else.
Yeah,
Well, I can't
and
wait till I get to see them because it's
and
like a
Iron Man was like
relief.
that transition. You could come
Hmm.
in to see it, but it was very short. Like
Hmm.
I'll never forget at the turn in the run at 13, and you know where it's at. We did the same one. You're right there by the finish line, and you'll turn. But Chelsea was there, and a few of my friends and all, and they were, man. I was in a bad mental place right there at that 13. It's tough. That turn right there. They strategically placed that turn right there by the finish line, and you got to go run 13 more, and it's the end of the night. It's dark already, and that's hard, man. But seeing them kind of added some spark. So yeah, imagine those transitions. They're not called transition. Imagine those checkpoints, portages that we'll have to get out. I hope I'm saying that right. Will be will be encouraging.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Iron Man being lonely because to me, the actual like my expectation for Iron Man and what actually happened was completely reversed when
Really?
it come to the different categories, and or not categories, but the different disciplines. So
Yeah.
like going into the race, I thought swimming was going to be the hardest by
Oh
far.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought biking was going to be the easiest by far.
Yeah.
And I thought running was going to be really hard just because it was last, but I knew I could tough it out. I was like,
Yeah. Once you got to that.
I can do the run. I'll
Yeah.
just have to tough it out. And that was my expectation going in because that's how my training was. Like to me, cycling is super easy. Like you just riding a bike, but it's for a
keep
long
pedaling.
time.
Yeah.
I was like, no problem. Swimming, never swam before. I was like, I really got to practice this swim because this is going to be tough. Like I don't know if I can swim 2.5 miles in the ocean. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if I can do that. So it scared the heck out of me, and I thought that was gonna be hard. And then the run was kind of just a run, like it was kind of in between. But when I got out there, it was complete opposite. Swim was by far the easiest,
Yep.
and I think because one, it's first, so you're fresh. Two, you have a ton of adrenaline pumping,
Yeah.
and then three, I underestimated how much the wetsuit actually helped, and how much more buoyant salt water is than fresh water.
Yeah.
It's like you don't realize it, but it made the swim a lot easier. And I did
Yeah.
my goal for the swim was like 2 hours. I did the swim in like an hour and 9 minutes. Like
Yeah.
crushed my goal, like almost in half.
Yeah.
So like swim was easy. Bike, so hard. Not physically. It wasn't physically hard. It was mentally hard. You talking about being bored? Dude,
Yeah.
being on it took me like I think it's 6 hours and 6 minutes or something was my bike time.
Yep.
Being on a bike for 6 hours by yourself is absolutely brutal. Like, yeah, I was physically tired, but like my body was trained. I was prepared for it. Like it wasn't that bad because I had trained for it. Like I knew what to expect physically because we did some 5-hour rides.
Yeah.
Training for it. So like I was ready physically, but I always did my long rides with you or with Connor or whoever.
Yeah.
But we always had somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
When I got out there on that 6-hour ride by myself,
It's awful.
it was brutal.
awful.
No headphones.
No headphones.
Not riding with anybody, not talking. I'm in my own head for
Yes.
6 hours straight.
Yeah.
And it was brutal. And it sucked. Like it was by far the hardest. Now the run, I expected it to be pretty hard. It actually ended up being easier than I thought just because there's people along the whole run. So like the one we did, it's only a 6-mile loop. So it's 6 miles. And there was so many people there. Like they pretty much stretched out almost the whole entire 6 miles.
Yeah.
Like they were spread out. So there was always like a lot of energy going on. Like a lot of people yelling, screaming, signs, bells, and music playing. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
energy to feed off of. So the run was, it was still tough. It was at the end of the race. You're tired. It was tough, but I fed off the crowd a lot in that. So it was funny how like it was completely different than what I thought going into the race.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I mean, swimming, I dreaded it just like you. I trained the most for it. I worried the most for it. So then I trained a little bit harder in the swim. Found it, and I hate to say this and set somebody up for failure, right? Don't underestimate the swim.
Oh no, I over prepared for the
yeah.
swim by far. I trained 5 days a week for the swim for months.
Yeah,
I over prepared for it.
I over prepared as well, and I over mentally prepared. Like I prepared for it to be awful, and once you get out there, and like you said, the wetsuit is very it's buoyant. The salt water is buoyant. You do stay on top a little easier. It's easier to get in that rhythmic swim. However, don't underestimate it if you're training for Ironman right now or even thinking about it. Don't underestimate it because that's where you could really get hurt out there. But the swim came easier, just like you experienced. I think I was like an hour 20 or something like that. The bike, where I messed up on is when I looked at the course. There was a point at 90 miles or so where you actually take a right and you go out, like you're coming back and you're almost back to the transition, but you take a right and you go like through these like woods or neighborhoods and around this park and all this. And I'm like, in my mind, I remember looking at the map going, if I, when I get here, I'm pretty much at transition. Like I'll start to mentally prepare for the run. Okay. Well, you're still 22 miles from being done from the transition, which is an hour plus, like hour, 10 minutes, depending on how fast you're riding. Right. And so for that hour, like I had I had this thought like, oh, I'm almost done with the bike. And I get like 20 minutes into this and I'm 50 minutes from that. And I'm like, oh, I have messed up, man. This thing's never going to end. And when that enters your mind, oh, it's hard to get past that once you have that thought of like, this is never going to end. I can't do this. When you have those thoughts of can't and Ooh, baby, you got some mental work to do, and then when I got to transition, and you never think you would look forward to running a marathon more than an Ironman because you're done with that bike and you get to go
Mhm.
run for a minute, and it's like I look forward to getting on my shoes, getting this bike shoes off, getting this helmet off, and just going for a run.
Yeah, I never really experienced like the distance thing in the Ironman, but I did in the ultra, dude.
Ah,
I messed my head up bad in the ultra, trying to guess how far I was. Like same
so
experience you did. Like I thought I was a lot closer than I was,
yeah,
and I ended up being way off, and it just screws you up mentally.
dude,
So
it does.
if you're ever gonna do an endurance challenge, don't even look at your watch. Don't look at the distance. Don't even guess. Just go.
Just
Go until they say stop,
yeah,
or go to the finish line. Like, don't even
yeah.
worry about it because it's gonna mess you up mentally. Like that ultra was brutal. When I looked at, I was trying to guess because I didn't have my watch, or I had my watch, but I was just looking at time, and I tried to base my distance off my time, and I completely messed it up, and I screwed myself up
Oh
mentally.
man.
Like, and I wasn't just like a mile or two off. I was miles and miles off. Like, it was bad. Like you said, I was like an hour off. Like it wasn't even close.
Well, when I'm running, I won't
Brutal.
look. I mean, even like yesterday we were running. I'm like, how many miles are? What I would guess. I'd kind of. You always estimate like, what are we like?
Mhm.
What are we here? And you'd be like, oh, we're here. Like because you just like if you ever start to look, if you ever look down, it's like being on height. Being afraid of heights, and you look down. If you ever
Mhm.
look, time slows down big time, and that misery that you're in just gets worse. So yeah, don't look down.
Well, I think that's got all I got for you.
Yeah,
If you would let everybody know where they can find you at. Shout out all 47 of your companies if you want to.
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, find me on any social medias. The typical is Dustin Jackson. I think I'm the Dustin Jackson 101 on TikTok. And then Dustin Easy In on Instagram, and then Dustin Jackson. I mentioned Easy In. Easy In Outfitters, like I'm wearing today. We have Easy In Detail, Easy In Storage, IGL Coatings, A Peaks Tent and Film, and a host of other companies. Boat Show on the Bay. If you're out at the end of March near the Battleship Park, that's us down there. And I mean, we got a host of other things, and just check me out on social media. If you ever want to chat, I have an open calendar link. You can schedule a call with me. I enjoy talking about pretty much anything business and fitness and all that. And of course, you can, if you follow my Facebook, I do a lot of lives. I do lives in the morning. And I do a lot of motivational stuff, so that's my platform of choice. So yeah, you check me out there.
and one thing you forgot to mention, which you talked a little bit about earlier, is the Facebook group.
Oh
So
yeah.
Dustin has started a group called Ready Set Goal. I
Hmm.
believe you started it when you was doing your Ironman training. But basically, it's just not necessarily it is a fitness group, but it's more like a accountability
Yep.
group for people, mainly based in the mobile area. But it's on Facebook, so
Mhm.
you can be from anywhere and join it. But it's just a kind of motivating group that we use to help hold each other accountable. We'll post our your sweaty selfie in there when you get done
Yeah.
working out, or you'll post your workout on there, your watch or whatever when you get done, and it's just
Mhm.
to kind of hold each other accountable to trying to cheer each other on, motivate each other. Sometimes they'll run like little challenges and stuff in there. Like I've done 75 hard in there before,
Yeah.
and everybody will post their progress on there, post their day when they check it off at the end. So it's kind of just like a motivating group that you can join if you need, or if you have questions, you can find somebody in there to help answer your questions or anything like that. So y'all join it. It's called Ready Set Goal
Yeah.
on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, and y'all can request to join that.
Yeah, there's a great group of people in there, of all shapes, sizes, and fitness backgrounds. I mean, you literally got anybody and everybody, and let me tell you, it's judgment free. It doesn't matter what question you ask. I monitor that thing, and there's nothing but positivity, nothing but support, nothing but truth. You know what I mean? To the best of all of our abilities, we're going to help you out as much as we can. So don't feel like you got to have any kind of background. You can come in there, whatever stage you're in. Of course, we welcome the experience because it just makes the channel that much better, the group that much better to have people chiming in. So if you do have some experience, we welcome those comments for the ones that don't and that are asking. So Ready Set Goal in Facebook, it's a good group, and I appreciate you shouting it out too.
Yeah, we've been slacking a little bit. We got to pick
We
it back up
have
in there.
we
Yeah,
have. When you said that, I thought, man, we need to do a challenge. We got to get
yeah.
something going in there.
Well, all right. I think that's all we got for y'all today. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Fitness Beginner Podcast. Y'all be sure to tune in next week for another episode. Other than that, y'all set you a goal today. Set you up a plan. Set up a plan to achieve that goal. And y'all go do big things in 2026. Y'all have a great day.
And don't wait till Monday.
Don't
Start
wait till
now.
Monday.